few weeks ago, I got invited to the Travelers Company stamp caravan here in Chicago, and I made my journal spread. I created it. Afterwards, like a few days later, I needed some time to like process and, like fangirl over the fact that I got invited. Um, so as I was making my journal spread and I made a whole video of it on my Instagram, which is at Brownline Letters, I just I wanted to take some ephemera that I took, which are like, the stamps from the stamp caravan, and I had stamped a bunch. So the point is, I said, okay, I hadn't used this in a long time. I looked up like midway while recording and making the video, and I pulled this down, and I took, one of these from this to something like this. A little perforated, like faux stamp, artist stamp, whatever you want to call it. So I did this to one, and when I posted the video, a bunch of people were asking me like where they can find one, and how this works, what this is. Well, I wanted to explain a little bit about this. This is a stamp perforator. Now, obviously, we're not running around making our own like actual postage stamps. That's for the USPS. We can't do that. But you can make artist stamps. You can design your own stamps online and then just kind of fit them. Now, there are companies that already sell these sheets, but if you want to make your own, if you want to try it out, it's just something fun you can do. I can show you my process and what I do. So usually I do a lot of snail mail and journaling, and I like to add some texture, either whether that be to my mail or to my journal. So I create these little stamps, and it's so simple. It's pretty simple. Like, it's literally just like a little gridded sheet, and I just take one of my just a favorite stamp of mine, like let's say this one, and I would just make a few, 1 2 3 1 2 3, or make 6, just depending, whatever I wanted to do. Like for instance here, I made all of these, okay? And then I just kind of feed them through here and use this as a guide to stay in a straight line. Now, this is only 6 inches, so you have to make sure that the paper fits. I had already pre-cut this one so that it fits well here and it does the job, right? So let me show you a little bit about what I do, okay? So let's say I want to send, we'll do these again, just because I have these out here and they're a little easier. So what I do is I try to stamp these in a way that like it leaves some space here, so it gives us that nice perforated end here. So we'll do this here, we'll stamp here, and then we'll bring it down. We'll create a little space here. And I try to like stay even and to try and keep these in a straight line, but not doing the best job here. But nonetheless, let's see. Go here. Boom. So I'll do that, and then I can feed it through here. Now what you want to do is when you get one, I use this, right? So this helps keep me straight, and I like to use gridded paper because if you notice here, you can start to see like where the pins hit, if you see there. And this doesn't have a lip. This side does, so it makes it harder to kind of like, you would have to measure manually, and I don't always want to do that. So I use this side, and what I do is I like stick the paper in, and just to give it as much texture as possible, let's do this. We'll start on this side, right? So we'll start here, and because we can maybe even make some more, we can add more like I did to that other sheet. We'll start there. Boom. This gets stuck sometimes, but it's just about aligning the pins. Anywho, you have to push down a little hard sometimes. There you go. See? And now we're gonna do it again. We're gonna fix this again, and we're gonna try to, like, you know, just measure like we did 1, 2 on the third, like the middle of the third row, these 1, 2, and then middle there, like right there. That's where we'll want to make our perforation. And it'll take you a few tries to get this right. Like, I'm still not getting it right, if I'm being honest. So yeah, if you have one of these perforators, please let me know. Give me your tips. So just a little history. These are, you know, what used to make those old, like, lick and stick postage stamps, but they were on a bigger scale, obviously like industrial sized, and they're big. They no longer use them because it looks like everything's just kind of die cut. So they're somewhere floating online for sale. Now, before you go and you run and you try to get one, a few things. They are really, really big. And the small ones that are like tabletop, that are just like a little bigger than this, are really hard to find because everybody wants, you know, a tabletop one. And they're really heavy. Like, they're like 300-400 pounds heavy. And again, big. So I'm in Chicago, and if you're from Chicago or from any large city, you know that space is precious. So therefore I don't have one. So for now, I'm using this, and honestly, I'm not really a designer necessarily, so I don't really have use for like a big one. So this works well for me. But if you wanted to, you know, search for one, you definitely could. There are designers and creators out there, like my pal Donovan Beeson at Dove B on Instagram, and she makes these beautiful, like, she designs these like beautiful, oh, we're stuck again. These like really beautiful artist stamps, okay? So you might want to check her out. She's on Patreon, and they're just lovely, and she releases a set every month. See? We're done. And it's pretty straight. Okay, I like this. And, you know, if you wanted to do the same stamp, if you wanted to stay cohesive, you could. Obviously, like, this might be a little smaller. You know, they're not all going to be even, but whatever. It's cool. We'll do something like that. But nonetheless, if you wanted to just do the same stamp, you could do it over and over again. And there you go, right? So now we're gonna do it this way, just to add a fun touch to it. And these are so fun to do, and, you know, they're just really fun to use. And like I said, it just adds great texture to a journal spread or anything else that you're sending and using. And like, people always ask me like, oh wow, like, is this a real stamp? Can I use this in the mail? You know, again, repeating, you cannot. You know, this is just like faux postage, which is, again, if you're into journaling or scrapbooking or snail mail, really fun to send out. You know, and then you can write a little something, you know, like I would maybe write brown line letters here. And then a friend could just, like, you know, tear these up, you know, and give this to another friend and keep this, so that it's endless. So what you could do with these is endless. So, you know, if you enjoyed it, if you want to see me make another little sheet using rubber stamps and just talk a little more, let me know.